Hi, this is Yoan, and in this episode, we're gonna make this two-tone fold-over backpack. This is a lovely functional backpack with straightforward construction, so not too fussy. The finished measurements are about 13 inch by 14 inch by 3 inch. The front buckle here is adjustable, so you can modify the height of this backpack depending on what you carry. The exterior features the 4-patch patchwork with Improv twist, thus creating this really interesting and one-of-a-kind look. For the external fabric, I used the solid cotton quilting fabric in 2 contrasting colors. There is a zipper pocket at the back exterior here with zipper closure, 2 slip pockets, and a zipper pocket in the interior. Alright guys, go get the pattern at YoanSewingStudio.com, or you can find the direct link somewhere in the description box down below as well. And without further ado, let's get started. First, we're gonna work on the patchwork for the main exterior panels. So here I've got 2 solid fabrics in contrasting color. Cut them in identical size. Lay fabric 1 with the right side facing up, and then lay fabric 2 also with the right side facing up. So you want to stack them together, aligning all the edges. Now grab your ruler. So you want to use a ruler that is long enough to cut this across lengthwise and widthwise. So first you want to place your ruler somewhat center-ish on an angle. And if you want to do a little bit of assessment, so you can go to the left or to the right. Don't think too much about it. This is more on a freeform style. So once you're happy with the angle and the position of your ruler, let's cut this with a rotary cutter. Once you've done that, you want to leave the fabrics the way it is. Do not move anything just yet. And then we're going to cut this widthwise. Again, we're going to place the ruler on an angle. This time I'm going a little bit towards the bottom, and I'm pretty happy with this position. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut. Now you should end up with 4 panels. Alright, now let's lay out the patchwork, alternating fabric 1 and 2 on each row while keeping the same order, just like that. Now I'm gonna set these ones aside. As you can see, I put labels on each panel so that it won't get confusing later. Now let's start piecing this patchwork starting from the upper row. So lay them right sides together. Simply align the edges even though it's on an angle, and then sew with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Once you've done that, you want to press the seams. You can press the seams open or towards one side. It doesn't really matter. Sew the lower row also with 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then press. Now let's join these 2 rows together. Lay them right sides together. It doesn't have to be super precise. We're gonna trim this off later anyway. Don't bother too much about matching the seams. Now if there is any uneven edges, just trim that off so everything will be aligned. Now if you want, you can pop a few pins to secure everything and then stitch this in place with 1/4 inch seam allowance. And don't forget to press the seams when you're done, and there you go. You should end up with something like this. Trim this panel off so that it will measure 15 inch by 20 inch. So I'm going to start by trimming off the long sides. I like to take away just a little bit from one of the sides, about 1/4 inch or so, just to even out the edges. And then I'm going to measure exactly 15 inch and then trim off the excess fabric. And I'm going to do the same way for the short sides as well. So I started by trimming off one of the side a little bit and then measure exactly 20 inch and cut. Alright, the first exterior panel is done. Now we're gonna work for the second panel exactly the same way. Once you've sewn and trimmed both panels, you want to decide which one will be the front and which one will be the back exterior. So I decided that this panel on my left hand side will be the front exterior, and this panel on my right hand side will be the back exterior, and maintaining the original layout. Now if you're not sure, you can do a little bit of assessment. So lay your panels wrong sides together and then fold towards the bottom about 5 inches. So you'll have a rough idea how it's gonna look once it's sewn. So swap the layout, change the orientation, and see how it looks. Once you've made up your mind, you may want to put labels for the front and the back. And I also like to pin the top edges so I know that's the top edges. I decided to follow the original layout. For the front panel, we're going to apply fusible fleece on the wrong side. And of course, we're going to cut the fleece a slight smaller so that it won't be too bulky around the seam allowance. Now for the back exterior panel, you want to apply the fusible woven interfacing. Also cut the interfacing a slight smaller and center the position. The reason we use fusible woven interfacing instead of fusible fleece for the back exterior is to make it easier later to install the zipper, since the fusible fleece is thicker. Now we're gonna work on the zipper pocket for the back exterior panel. So let's prepare our zipper pocket panel. Apply some very lightweight interfacing to the wrong side of your pocket panel just to stabilize this a little bit. And then we're gonna draw the zipper template. So you wanna draw a rectangle measuring 7 inch by 3/8 of an inch. And you wanna draw the template about 2.5 inch down from the top edges and of course center the position. As usual, you want to draw the line on the center and the little corner triangles as well, just like shown on the screen right now. Now you want to position your back exterior panel with the left hand side facing the top, and then lay your pocket panel right side down. So you want to align the top edges of the pocket panel with the left side edges of the back exterior panel, about 5 inches from the bottom edge of the exterior. Now let's pop a couple of pins to secure this in place and then sew right on the outline of the template. Once you've done that, we're gonna cut the center line and the corner triangles as well. And of course, as you get to the corner, be careful not to cut through the stitches. Turn the pocket panel to the wrong side through the template. Neaten everything up and then press this. For this pocket, we're going to use a purse size zipper at least 8 inches long. If you don't have this, you can also use all-purpose zipper. As usual, you want to apply some basting tape along the edges of the zipper tape. And when installing the zipper, you want to make sure that the start of the zipper is facing towards the top. Here I've already applied the basting tape. Now let's position the zipper template on top of the zipper. And of course, you want to center the zipper teeth and neaten everything. And once everything is secured, let's stitch this all around with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And here I've already sewn my zipper in place. Now let's turn this to the wrong side and we're going to trim off any excess zipper about 1/4 of an inch from the seams. And then we're going to fold this pocket panel, so bring the bottom towards the top, aligning the edges. Now let's pop a couple of pins to secure this in place, and then we're gonna stitch the sides and the top of the pocket with about 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And of course, when you sew, you want to make sure that the pocket is out of the way from the external fabric. And that's it, our back exterior pocket is done. Now let's move on and work on the straps. First, we're gonna work on the ring tabs. So cut 2 pieces of webbing about 4 inches long. And you will need 1 inch wide webbing for this project. For the connecting rings, you may use either D-rings or rectangular rings. I just realized I didn't have either of those in my stash that is in the same color that I intended to. So I decided to just improvise and use these 2 sliders instead. They will serve the purpose just fine. Attach the webbing and then you want to position the ring tab on the back exterior panel about 3 inches from the bottom, just like shown here. And then stitch this in place with about 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. From the top edge of your back exterior panel, you want to measure 6.5 inch and then draw a horizontal line with your fabric marker. And this will be the guideline for us to install the straps later. Next, we're going to work on the buckle. So grab the female buckle and then cut a piece of webbing about 7 inches long. Attach the webbing from the right side of the buckle towards the wrong side, just like so. Mark the center point of the upper of the back exterior. So I simply measure 7.5 inch from one of the side and then just draw a straight mark there. Now grab the female buckle strap and then you want to position that right on the center line, and of course centering the position. Now the bottom edge should be about 1/4 of an inch away from the horizontal line. Grab a pin and then pin the bottom to hold this for now. And then you want to adjust the strap so that the edges of the buckle is about 1/2 an inch away from the top edges of the exterior panel. Now let's pop another pin to secure everything. And then sew starting from the bottom towards the top, as close as you can get to the buckle area. I like to make an X at the top there to reinforce everything. stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the edges of the webbing. Use walking foot to make everything nice and even. And as you get to the top, stop about 1/2 an inch or 3/4 of an inch before the buckle. And then pivot. And then continue stitching across. And then make the X. Now if you want to, you can make the X mark with fabric marker if that will be easier for you. I've done this many times, so I'm just eyeballing here. Now using the horizontal line as the guide, you want to measure 3 inches from the side edges and mark it with a line about 1 inch. And you want to do the same to the opposite side. For the shoulder strap, cut 2 pieces of webbing about 42 inches long. Position the webbing right by the 3-inch point mark. So the outer edges of the webbing should be sitting right on the 3 inches mark. Just like that. The bottom edges should be sitting about 1/4 of an inch away from the horizontal line. Pin this in place, and then you want to do the same to the opposite side. And once you've done that, you want to stitch this in place about 1/4 of an inch away from the bottom edge. Now to hold all these straps together, you want to cut a piece of webbing about 15 inches long and then position that right on the horizontal line. So the lower side of the webbing should be sitting right on that horizontal line. This way it will cover all the raw edges of the straps. Place a few pins to secure everything. And then stitch this all around, and then where the straps are sitting, you want to make the X to reinforce the straps, just like indicated on the screen right now. And there you go guys, the straps are now nicely secured. Next, we're going to install the adjustable strap slider. So hold the slider right side up and then feed the end of the strap from the wrong side towards the right side and back to the wrong side, just like that. Pull the strap through a little bit and then feed the end of the strap to the connecting ring from the right side towards the wrong side, just like so. And then slide the end of the strap through the wrong side of the slider. While you're doing this, you want to check and make sure that your strap is not twisted. You want to have about a couple of inches of clearance there. Now you want to flip this towards the bottom. So you want to hold the end of the strap with this inner webbing. Now fold the edges towards the wrong side, about 1/2 an inch, and then stitch to hold this in place, about 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And there you go. Now you want to repeat the same to the opposite side. Now let's work on the placement for the male buckle. Measure 9.5 inch from the bottom center of your front exterior panel and then draw a straight vertical line. And then up to that 9.5 inch point, you wanna draw a horizontal line about a couple of inches, just like shown on the screen right now. Cut a piece of webbing about 17 inches long. Position the webbing right on that vertical line. Of course, you wanna center it. Place a couple of pins to secure them, and then you want to sew from the bottom up to the 9.5 inch point mark. Make the X at the top there. And you should end up with something like this. Now let's get the male buckle. When choosing the buckle, make sure to choose, of course, the good quality one and the one that has the slider to make the strap adjustable. Hold the buckle right side up, and then you want to feed the end of the strap from the bottom or from the wrong side towards the right side, and then slide it through and go back to the wrong side. Now pull the strap through just like so. Now fold the end of the strap towards the wrong side, about 1/2 an inch, and then fold this one more time. If it is too thick for you, you can just fold once, no problem. And then we're gonna stitch along the folded edges with about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Cut 1.5 inch square notches at the bottom corners of your exterior pieces. And the same goes for the interior later too. Now let's assemble our exterior panel. So lay the back exterior and the front exterior right sides together. And then of course you want to make sure that the straps are out of the way. Clip them in place and then sew the sides and the bottom with 1/2 an inch seam allowance. Do reinforce the strap area as you sew to make them extra secured. Now we're gonna square up the bottom, so open the corner, match the side seams and the bottom seams, and then stitch with about 1/2 an inch seam allowance. And there you go guys, the exterior shell is done. Now if you want to, you can turn this inside out and see how it looks so far, and then set this aside and we're gonna work on the interior. Alright, for the interior panels, you want to cut 2 identical rectangles. Now we're gonna fuse the back interior panel with some fusible fleece. For the front interior, you want to apply a little bit of fusible woven interfacing about halfway through, just enough to stabilize the upper top area where the zipper panel is going to be installed and also the zipper pocket area. Let's prepare the zipper for the zipper pocket, so you will need an all-purpose zipper at least 8 inches long. Draw the zipper template on the wrong side of the zipper pocket panel, exactly the same way we did with the exterior zipper, so you can refer to that again. Lay the pocket panel on the right side of the front interior panel, about 4 inches down from the top edges. Pin this in place and then sew and install the zipper exactly the same way we did with the exterior pocket. Now let's work on the slip pockets. Lay your pocket panel right side up. Fold the pocket panel in half widthwise, just like that, and then stitch the top edges with about 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once you've done that, press the seams open and then turn this right side out, and then press it again and top stitch the top edges. Position the pocket panel on the right side of the back interior panel, about 7 inches down from the top edges, and then stitch the side with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and then top stitch the bottom. Also divide the pocket into 2, just like indicated on the screen right now. Now that we've installed all the pockets, we're gonna cut the 1.5 inch square notches just like we did with the exterior, and then we're gonna move on and work on the zipper closure. First, we're going to prepare the zipper, so you will need a purse size zipper, at least 14 inches long, the teeth length. Now at the start of the zipper here, you want to fold the tape extension towards the wrong side and then sew just to hold this in place. And you should end up with something like this. Now prepare the zipper panel, so you want to cut 2 identical rectangles, and we're going to fold and press this. So you want to start by folding the short side towards the wrong side, about 1/2 inch. You may need to use your seam gauge because we want this to be pretty accurate. And then repeat the same to the opposite side. And then fold the long sides also 1/2 inch towards the wrong side, of course. And repeat the same to the opposite side. And then you want to fold this panel in half lengthwise, just like so. And then press this real good. So we're going to install these panels on each side of the zipper tape. Grab your basting tape and then apply that to the edges of the zipper tape from the start of the zipper up to the 13-inch point, which is the same length as the zipper panel. Both the right side of the zipper tape and the wrong side as well. Now let's peel off the top layer of the basting tape, both sides, and then take one of the zipper panel and then insert the zipper tape into the fold of the zipper panel. Align the edges of the start of the zipper with the edges of the zipper panel. So you want to insert the zipper tape about 3/8 of an inch into the fold. Take your time to neaten everything and make everything nice and even. So there should be about 1/8 of an inch distance between the zipper teeth and the edges of the zipper panel. Once you're happy with how it looks, you can finger press so that the basting tape will be sticking to the fabric, and then stitch the sides and the bottom of the zipper panel with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Start sewing from one of the side, of course back stitch to reinforce, and then pivot and then stitch the bottom. I like using my walking foot to do this job, but if you prefer to use your zipper foot, of course you can use that. Alright, so you should end up with something like this. Now let's work the same way for the opposite side. And there you go guys, the zipper panel is done. Now take the back interior panel, the one with the slip pockets, mark the upper center point, simply draw a straight vertical line about a couple of inches. Now fold the zipper in half, aligning the edges of the zipper panel, not the zipper. And then mark the center point on both sides of the zipper panel. Measure 1.5 inch down from the top edges of the back interior, and then draw a straight horizontal line with your fabric marker, of course. And then position the zipper panel right on that horizontal line, matching the center point of the zipper panel with the center point of the interior panel. The start of the zipper should be at your left-hand side. Now you want to pin them in place, and then stitch right along the edges of the zipper panel with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm still using my walking foot here, and it is very important to reinforce your stitching by back stitching a few times at the beginning and towards the end of the stitching. Now take the front interior panel, and we're gonna do pretty much the same way like before. So you wanna first draw the horizontal line, and then position the zipper panel on that horizontal line with the right side facing up, matching the center point of the zipper panel with the center point of the front interior, and then pin them in place, and then stitch along the edges of the zipper panel about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And when you're done, you should end up with something like this. So the right side of the zipper should be facing up. Now we're gonna assemble the back interior pretty much the same way as the back exterior. I like to unzip my zipper all the way, seems to be easier that way. And when you're pinning the side seams, make sure to tuck the zipper tail towards the inside. And once everything is secured, you wanna sew this with 1/2 inch seam allowance, leaving about 4 to 5 inches of opening at the bottom to turn the back inside out later. Alright, so our back interior is done and ready to go. Now let's turn this right side out. And the back exterior panel should be wrong side out. Now insert the back interior into the back exterior. And when you do this, just make sure that the front side of the interior, the one with the zipper pocket, is touching the front side of the exterior, and the back side of the interior, the one with the slip pockets, is touching the back side of the exterior. Now let's clip to secure this in place. Start by matching the side seams, and once everything is secured, stitch all around with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now turn the back inside out through the opening hole. Neaten all the edges. I simply finger press this, and then top stitch the top edges with about 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now let's take care of the opening hole. So you wanna fold the raw edges towards the wrong side, about 1/2 inch, and then sew to close the opening. Alright, now let's put the lining back inside. If your zipper end is sticking out, just tuck it inside the back. And if you want to, you can give your back a good pressing. Just be mindful with the zipper and the hardwares. And congratulations, your backpack is done. And that's about it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.